for a video that'll probably come out today, tomorrow, something like that. Probably likely tomorrow. We'll see. Because I've got so many others to put out. So the question is, what is an adult? It's obvious, right? Well, if you're in a village in India, that means something else. If you're in Mississippi, it means something else. If you're in New York City, it means something else. If you're in LA, it means something else. If you're in a tiny little town in Mexico, it means something else. If you're in Germany, it means something else. If you're in France, it means a lot of different things. It also changes from culture to culture to culture. But there's a general age that we accept as the beginning of adulthood. If we are building ourselves for the golden age that is upon us, we have to think about what is spiritually mature, what is logically sound, what is biologically viable, and what is socially harmonious. These four things are very important. I'm going to talk about that in the full video, but I'm going to lay these things down for you right now, and I want to get your perspective. I want to know what you think. A lot of people that watch this are kids, okay? So I'm going to drop some knowledge on you kids. It's going to help you guys to dominate as we're going into this golden age that AI is helping us to create. We'll do that at the end of the video. This is not going to be a very long video because I got other things I need to get done. So here's what I'm going to drop on you first of all. In traditional societies, and again, this is all just off the top of my dome, just years and years of collecting data, watching people, traveling around, observing people, talking to people, asking people questions, interacting with people of various ages, and then saying, okay, what feels most harmonious? Okay? And so what I found in traditional societies, if you look at some of the initiatic traditions from Papua New Guinea to the British Royal House or something like that, at a certain point in childhood, when the brain starts to solidify, meaning ideas and thoughts become more rigid and less malleable, that is when they say, okay, we've got to get this person starting their integration into society. And that happens around 6 to 12, somewhere in there. Okay? Bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah is like around 12, 13 years old, right? In traditional societies, around age 8, 6 to 8, boys especially go through this initiation into manhood. Of course, they're not fully formed men until later on. Even biologically, obviously, they're not there. And so something about the age of, we'll say 6 to about 13 is a pivotal transitional point in the human biology. Now, there are some people who I'm going to openly say this is, that are, we'll say morally abominable, and you can say that objectively, that would suggest that's the onset of adulthood. Okay? Age somewhere between 6 and 13 is when adulthood begins. Because the human body is biologically capable of reproducing other humans around age 13, 12, 13. Now, in some weird extenuating circumstances with unusual things happening hormonally, there's some people who have been able to reproduce humans at the age of 8. That is unusual. That is unnatural. That's not normal. But people will say that the beginning of adulthood is when the human is able to begin reproducing. Now, in a traditional society, like say some traditional indigenous societies in America, like really like native indigenous peoples that live way out in the forest, okay, perhaps age 13 is because that's what they do. Okay, they start making more humans around that age frame, 13, 15, 16, somewhere in there. Okay, maybe. But they're preparing the children at age 5 and 6 to cut wood, build houses, do all these things that adults need to do in order to survive and create families. So by the time they're 13, they've got, if they start at 6, they got 6, 7 years under their belt of being a part of the community. Okay, and we're speaking of females primarily in this instance. But in Western society, that is completely untenable. Like, there's nothing logical about it. There's nothing biologically sound or safe about it. It doesn't make sense for us here in the West. So when does adulthood begin? Smaller brains would struggle with that question, right? They would look and say, well, what does the law say? What's the answer to this so I don't get in trouble? Instead of saying, okay, well, actually, when does adulthood begin? Okay? What does that mean? What does adulthood mean? Does it mean that you're able to contribute to society, that you're able to be a worker and bring wealth or something like that? Or does that mean that you're ready to start a family? You're able to create more humans? In ancient and traditional societies, the idea of adolescents or teenagers just didn't exist. It was you're prepping for adulthood for a number of years, we'll say from 10 to 18, 8 years. And now you're 18, okay, you're an adult. Out, go build a job, go find a husband or a wife or something like that. Okay? In our society, age of consent is correlated with adulthood. In the United States, 21 is the drinking age, but voting age is, I think you can enter the military at 17 and a half or something like that, right? So you can carry a gun and go kill someone or get shot at and killed for your country about age 17 and a half, 18. You can begin voting, I think, at 18. I forgot because I've been voting for so many years, for over 20 years. So there's certain ideas around like adulthood, what it means to be an adult and this sort of thing. So we're going to play with that idea. First and foremost, I want to say in an apex society, it was very well understood that age of ability to reproduce and age of you are a functioning adult ready to start a family were two different numbers. It was not okay. Okay, this person's body is ready to make more people. Get them out there. They need to start making more people. Nope. No. Does this person know themselves spiritually? Do they know how to recognize the voice of God? Have they demonstrated spiritual discernment? Have they demonstrated logic and reason, creative intelligence, and a proper use of intuition? Have they demonstrated those things? Creativity, creative intelligence, spiritual discernment, intuition, and logic and reason, and all those things. Have they demonstrated those consistently? Because why should we allow this human to make more humans when they haven't even become human yet? Okay? So, to argue, okay, msai starts at age 8, 12 to 14, somewhere in there. So that means a female is viable to make more humans. Okay, well, she's physically, biologically viable, but is she socially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally ready? Nope, not by a long shot. So in the United States, age of consent doesn't start until 18. And that makes sense. It makes sense to keep it there. It's nice. The Luciferians are making it happen again. So it makes sense to keep it there. But let's say, how old are you? 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there? Do you want to continually, and I've noticed the false manufactured teenage angst. If you're a kid, if you're a teenager, let me know in the comments if you think that's a real thing. And what is teenage angst? That's when you just get bored of hearing adults talk to your face and you just are over it and you just want to go and do your own thing. You want to hang out with your friends and all this stuff. I don't think that that's abnormal. I think that that is normal and that is early adult activity. If you're 12, 13, 14, you don't need to get all of this stuff shoved in your head. Do this, do that, you're bad, you're good, you're blah, 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 blah. You don't need all that. By that point, you need to be saying, okay, what is my purpose here? How can I contribute to society? How can I create a good life for myself? Period. Hands down, point blank. And you do that thinking, we'll say you start at 13, until you're 18, that's 5 years of figuring yourself out, learning to listen to the voice of God, a proper use of spiritual discernment, intuition, connecting with the Most High God. By the time you're 18, okay, now you can start a solid career. By the time you're 25, if you're a female, perhaps you can start a family. Wait another 10 years, and if you're a male, then you can start a family. You need to build enough wealth. You have to develop a name for yourself in society. You need to get your balls kicked in a couple of times and learn how to survive it, thrive through it, like amazingly conquer through it, okay? So, men have to be exceptionally intelligent, smart in apex societies. That's why, in traditional societies, there are traditional societies where men were not able to marry until their 30s. Jesus was not considered a man, real man in his society. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but until you were 30, of course, Jesus had his bar mitzvah around 12, 13, and then he went to India and Persia and Egypt and all these places, and then came back at age 30. But they say he was working as a carpenter. It's possible, but there's no evidence of that in the Bible. He's just gone. But he was in India, Persia, and Egypt during that time period. So Jesus, in his neck of Jewish Judean society, couldn't be a man until he was 30. In Maasai society, a man is not supposed to marry a woman and live in a house with her until he's 30. So it makes sense for men not to mature and start families until don't start making more humans until you're in your 30s as a man. As a woman in this society that keeps kids, keeps adults, children until they're 25 at least, you probably shouldn't start making other humans until you're 25. Let's see what we got here. So, like, hello, we are told to check you out, Pastor. May we witches sit and listen? Of course. Of course. Oh my God. The witches are always welcome. You guys are true Christians if you are practicing it in the deeper sense. If you're practicing in the deeper sense, you are welcomed to join. As a matter of fact, the Covens, the Wiccans, all those guys, they're the original Christians. Again, if you are coming from, depends on what lineage. Gardenian, what is your lineage? Gardenian, Crowley. What's your lineage? It depends on your lineage, because certain, like the Druids were true Christians. They were any esoteric order was the apex. They were the top of the pyramid, and that was Christianity. Islam, Buddhism, Islam's part of Christianity, but all of it was. So yes, Wiccans, witches, even Luciferians, and even the far left-hand folks, y'all are completely welcome. It's just a matter of logic and reason showing up fully as you possibly can and cultivating your divine nature. But so Jesus around 12, 13, he was teaching the scribes and Pharisees. He was saying, you guys are idiots. He wasn't saying they were idiots. I'm paraphrasing, guys. Like, it's not this written in the Bible. But basically, they were looking at him and they were like, wow, this kid is way smarter than us. Like, he knows all the stuff that we know, and he knows it 10 times better. Well, his mother, Mary, taught him all of the Jewish scriptures. It was Mary that taught him that. He was exposed. Some people say that he grew up in an Essene community. There's debate back and forth about that. But regardless of it, we know his mother taught him the secrets or the esoteric teachings. She was, according to Christian tradition, the daughter of Anna. Anna was immaculately conceived. And there's a lot of debate on how that happened. But anyway, Mary was immaculately conceived. So Anna, her mother, Jesus' grandmother, was touched by the Holy Spirit, had Mary. Mary was a virgin birth, and then she had Jesus. He was a virgin birth. There's that tradition. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. I like it, so I tell it. Let's see what the witches said. New Age crap is a bunch of crap. The devil sits in your pew. We just want to listen, not to talk. Okay, that's totally welcome. Yeah, you're right about the devil sitting in the pews, but the devil's minor. The devil's a minor thing. So anyway, Jesus was the son of a virgin, and Mary was the daughter of a virgin. There's that idea. But here we're talking about what is adulthood. And in Western society, the way that children are cultivated and taught to develop, probably shouldn't consider making more humans until you're 25. Just saying. You haven't developed a career. You haven't developed logic and reason. You haven't developed any of the things that really make you an apex human. And if we are to be apex humans, we have to cultivate the highest, the strongest, the best, the apex. And so, this adorable little coven of witches that you like I said, you guys are welcome to join. But you're right. The New Age stuff is definitely like, I mean, Christianity is satanic enough as it is. They look to a God that limits them and doesn't say, hey, you've got this exceptional power that you can tap into, and we're connected, and let's build on that. And the original Wiccans understood that, that's what they originally understood. And so we'll say the Romans came in, when the Romans came in and started saying, you have to adopt our political system, and they called it Christianity. It wasn't really Christianity, it was just Romanism. We'll call it that. The brotherhoods and sisterhoods of the different traditional societies throughout Europe said, okay, well, these people are coming in. How do we preserve the spark of divine awareness and continue the tradition until we get to this dark age, because they knew we were going into our dark age, and this is why the Druids were formed. That's why, um, many of the mystery systems were, and there was fights inside the mystery systems too, right? And you had the people that were like, "No, we're gonna do dark magic and all this stuff," and it's like, okay. And now you have the white witches, right? The white magic witches and stuff like that. So you have all that stuff. So yeah, I agree with you, about that. But we welcome the devil because, just like the Most High did, hey, you want to come and hang out? Okay, come on, let's go, let's go. So, what is the age of consent? What is adulthood? Adulthood is the point in which you know yourself, you know your God, you know how to hear the voice of the Most High, and you can properly contribute to society because you've created a beautiful version of self. Women are going to do that quicker just because they have the natural onset of initiation. They begin the death process when msai starts. They see themselves degrading and dying from the inside. And so, again, death is not a bad thing. It's just a part of life, and they realize that the impermanence of physicality immediately. It's a forced realization. And so females get that initiation almost naturally. And of course, the sisterhood, if it was righteous, a lot of sisterhoods went dark very quickly, and that's why I asked, what is your lineage? Hello again, Teresa. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about the left-hand path of Christianity, apex Christian. Not really left-hand path. We're talking to left-hand people. But anyway, so the sisterhood went dark very quick. That's why I asked what coven you guys were with. Like, what was your lineage? What is your lineage? I don't know what your lineage is. So um, a lot of people did that. But yeah, so I forgot where I was going with that. Let's see here. Hey man, good evening. Hello, Andrew Sweeney. We're talking about what is an adult. There's going to be a full video on this later on. But we're talking about what is an adult. What's an adult? And if you're a youngin, like you're a 12 or 13-year-old, 14, 15, and you find your parents annoying and you don't want to deal with them, you don't want to hear no adults or nothing like that, or any adults or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below and let me know why. Because there's this like fake phenomenon of teenage angst where they're saying like children are like, I just don't want to deal with authority anymore. And I think that's a natural thing. I think the human brain after 10 years, 13 years, 10 to 13 years, it's like, yo, can I start thinking for myself now? And in our society, in Western society, we do not allow kids to think. We don't actually let adults think for themselves. We don't encourage, applaud, and cultivate autonomy of thought. We don't do that in our society. So it's like I see kids and I when I interact with teenagers, I talk to them, I listen to them, do a lot of listening, I watch them, observe them, and it's like these are adultitos, tiny adults. I call them quasimorphs because they're almost formed. They're almost formed adults, and you can see that they have the ability to create, they have the ability to do things, but it's like we have retarded their growth as adults. We say, "Oh, you're not ready," but of course they're not ready. We should have started preparing them at age 6. Like hey, here's some responsibility that you want to take on. Let them do fun things that they love. Let them be in charge of that from age 5 up, and then say, hey, you're doing great, or work on this, or whatever. But give them tasks that they love to do. Little kids always want to get their hands into stuff. What is that? What is that? What is that? What? They're so curious. They just want to help. Come on, help out. Here, put this together. Go do this. Garden that. Blah, blah, blah. Every kid's got their own thing. So let's see what Andrew says. Per government, 17 to 18. But I still believe that's young. Early to mid-20s, yeah, is starting to be adults. Exactly. And that's where we're kind of aiming. But I think we need to start kids off very early, accepting responsibility and loving it, embracing it and saying, okay, this is mine. This is my task. We have that. Christian homes, really Christian homes, have those things already in place. Traditional homes tend to have those things in place. Help set the table for family dinner or whatever. Um, or take the trash out. But usually those are like chores. Kids don't like wash the dishes. But there could be other things. And this is the problem with working parents and the industrialized situation. It's like you take the parents out of the home. Well, who's going to share knowledge with the kids? Like, who's going to get, hey, I'm building a chair. You want to help me do that? Or we're going to dig the garden, or we're going to fortify the soil, or we're going to go and hunt for mushrooms, or we're going to go forage, or whatever. Kids love that. It's an adventure. It's out in nature, or it's in the shop, or it's whatever. It's doing big things, big people stuff. I get to be part of the big people world. Kids love that. Kids love it, and I think it's important for kids to be involved in that, but starting as early as possible, because the thing that makes an adult is confidence, clarity, um, confidence, clarity, maturity, spiritual maturity, the ability to be like, hey, this is challenging. I can take it on. I can do this. I can do this. And then I know that it will benefit my community. It'll benefit other people. It'll benefit, because I get the benefit of confidence and of accomplishment and feeling good about myself. But I can also share this with the world. And we can do that with all kids, because every single kid has something to share. Every single kid has something valuable. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, every single group of kids. How old are you, Celtic? Responsibility and goals. Bible needs to be implemented early. Each child is different. Yeah, each child is different, and that was the great thing about me growing up is we were lucky to have the Bible very early on. I mean, we had the Bible. We were memorizing it. I think like our first verses we were memorizing as soon as we could talk. So we were memorizing things like John 3:16, or there's one verse that's like two words: Jesus wept. Um, but we were, I think it's like Mark 11 something. But yeah, we are. Yeah. Oh, this is a broken person. Okay, you guys are cute. Why are you here, Celtic? Should we give Celtic like some? I don't know. We should give them time. Should we give them time? No. Okay. I mean, it's cute. It's cute, but we've got other things to do. We got to stay focused. Um. Let's see here. We'll give you one more chance, Celtic, because I do like the Wiccans, but the Wiccans that have functional brains. A lot of Wiccans are just busted. Like their fuses are gone. They're sizzled. And I want to reach across the aisle, but this is only for Apex Wiccans. Like there are Apex Wiccans out there. They are very rare, because you guys had an over explosion. You guys overpopulated during the Rainbow years, and there were a lot of stupids among you guys. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say it, but you guys were just letting everybody in, and everybody could join their coven, and everybody could. And it was just like, okay, well, okay, so you're a Wiccan now because you hate Christianity because you got abused by someone in your church. Okay, that makes you a Wiccan now. Okay, so the basis of this entire spiritual path is resentment. Not going very far. Not going very far. Okay, if love is at the base of what you're doing, then you're gonna fly. You're gonna thrive. You're gonna flourish. But if it's hatred and resentment and things like that, there's not much that your brain can do with that. It's just not very much. So we'll give you one more chance, Celtic, and we'll see where you go with it. But yeah, like really, the gracious thing that I had growing up was that my mom loved the Bible. She didn't like it. She loved it. And when she would read from it, the King James, we would actually listen to the King James version of the Bible while we were on Saturdays and on Friday evenings. And it would be like we loved it. I would sit down, grab all my puzzles or grab all my Legos, gather them together, and start building things. Oh wow! Oh, let's put on Alexander Scorby's, the Book of Ruth or the Book of Daniel. Daniel the Revelation was big for us, Adventists, and so that was with my growing up. And so I would sit there and just build different things. Noah's Ark. I would get my little ark out and just listen to Noah's Ark. They would just read Genesis account of Noah's flood. My mom would read it. So she gave us a love for the Bible. And in order for children to move into adulthood as sound, rational, creative children of the Most High, chosen people, doesn't matter what your path is. Wiccan, I don't care. You can be left hand, right hand. The hands work together, okay? There are a lot of stupids on the left hand, okay? But I like to reach out to the few intelligent that are there. There are more intelligent people on the right hand path just because there are more people there, okay? It's just a fact. But, you know, out of every 10,000 Satanists, there are probably like 12 that are functional. But there's like a billion Christians, okay? So there's clearly going to be more intelligent Christians out there. But, growing up with a system in which the love for your philosophy and the application of that philosophy in a harmonious and loving way can lead to a positive adult in society. And you can actually love your philosophy and you can live it. You don't have to preach it to anybody. You just wake up in the morning. Oh, I'm happy to be a Wiccan. How do I express my Wiccan nature? Well, I talk to the plants. No, not with my mouth because that's psycho. Because they don't have mouths. You can if you want. I'm not saying it's psycho. Let me pull back on that. It's me being hyperbolic. I'll apologize for that. But communicating with life and appreciating the spirit that flows through it all. That is Yahweh. That is Atum. That is Allah. That is God. That is, you call it Christ. Christ is more a human thing. But it is the life force. It is the source of life. It is the all in all. So if you can connect with that and say, okay, I'm going to share this with my kids and I'm going to share it as early as possible. And I'm going to help them to feel confident about their contribution to society. By the time they're 13, you're going to be hands off. You're going to be like, oh, they can go hang out with their kid friends. They can go and do whatever they want. They can run around and do whatever. They can go and get a job. They can go and start doing things that contribute to society. They're not going to go and get pregnant. They're not going to start making more humans, because they understand the responsibility laden in that. They understand the weight of something like that. That's a lot of weight in making a human. And so I agree with Andrew Sweezy that I think mid-20s is when, especially for women, mid-20s, like 23 to 27, somewhere in there, is when, making more humans happens. And then for men later, 33 to 38, somewhere in there. Because men need to, we got to be protectors and providers primarily. And if you're just figuring it out and you don't know what God's voice sounds like to you and you haven't gone through the trials of life and you haven't learned to love yourself and love what you do and then love the world through that, you don't need to start a family. You need to stay away from that as much as possible. So in Apex Societies, we're going to set that age at 25 for making a human family for females, 33 for males, the Jesus age. But let them feel like adults at age 12 or 13. Let them get a job. Let them contribute to society. Let them become an apprentice, something like that. It seems like that's what traditional societies did. And that's what helped them to get through dark ages and hard times, difficulties. If you're a 12 or 13-year-old, wouldn't you like to be able to, maybe driving? What do you think about that? Should we like lobby for 12 and 13-year-olds driving their own cars on the highway with everyone else? If you're a 12 or 13-year-old, let me know what you think. My dad was letting me drive his car when I was 10. So, we were in the countryside, so I don't know. I think that that's something that's possible. Age 6, we start preparing them for adulthood. Age 13, 14, you're an adult now. And then you become a real adult when you're like in your mid-20s for females and mid-30s for males. Don't make it harder for males, just make it more fun for males. Be like, yay, you can have your fun until you're like 33. And then by then you need to start settling down. And women can have their fun too. But I think a lot of women kind of like, being free and independent within a structure. Within a structure where there's safety, security, and serenity. Now, there's lots of women that like adventure, and they're fine. We call them harlots, and we love them, and they're a very important part of society. But that's not the majority of women. The majority of women, by their mid-20s, a lot of them are confused now. But by their mid-20s, they want to be chill. Meaning They want to be able to create their life and be at ease and have their hands in the dirt and creating something that is life giving. They want to do that, and they're ready for that. They're ready for that. Men need to do it too, but we need to like mature more. We need to make money, build an environment, build a community, build all that stuff, and then bring the ladies in. Yeah, bring the ladies in. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you're a 12 or 13 or 14-year-old, or what do you think? Should you drive at age 12? Should society give you a driving license if you've done 500 hours of community service with a social building organization? What about that? You're 12 years old now. You're eligible to go get a driver's license, but you have to do 500 hours at a farm that makes local produce, or 500 hours at an SPCA or an animal shelter, or 500 hours at a preschool or an elementary school, or 500 hours at a nursing home or something like that. And once you get your 500 hours stamped, you get to go to driving classes, and then you get you get a provisional license, and then when you're 25, you get a license to have children. Social media is the new age. Okay, this is Andrew saying social media and this new age of feminism of women is like not putting money in your 401k and enjoying life young, but when you get 60s, you're screwed and regret not having kids and a family. I think there's a lot of women that is their tragic outcome, man. It's not an easy life for a lot of these women, and I know, because I used to party and have fun with these women, and then now I look back and I really hope the women that I was friends with back then, this was years ago, I hope they stopped, slowed down, and figured it out before the brakes were shot on them by life, man. Because I cared about them, but that pretty face and pretty body does not last. You can be a toad as a man, and you can be 80 years old and still hot to like a 25-year-old because of this. Not that that's right, but still, it is what it is. I've not met a single woman in her, decrepit in a wheelchair that all the 25-year-old guys are going after because of her money. There's some weirdo dudes that'll do that, but that's like 1 out of 1,000. Men excuse women for being losers because a woman will have a pretty face and a guy will go, "Oh, I'll save you." And she'll have a pretty face and her head is flipped. Like she's a psychopath. You know how many men she could date? All men to do is go, "Oh, she's pretty. She's 22. Hey, she's a psychopath that kills cats at night." Uh, so men are far more forgiving in that regard, but women are not. Women are smarter when it comes to that. So yeah, feminism. I mean, feminism. I think is irrelevant because it's killing itself. So I don't worry about it. And that's why I asked about that coven, because I was like, "What kind of coven, you guys? Are you one of those bushy pit blue haired covens?" One of those. Death to the patriarchy. Okay, you're not real. If you know anything about Wicca, like most of it was started by men, and most of it was, I mean, they had women obviously involved, but women always were involved, but it was always men that were starting the different lineages. So anyway, but yeah, I agree with you. Feminism is a problem, but I wouldn't worry about feminism, Andrew, because feminism's eating itself alive. And my concern, if you are a traditional Christian, is to make sure that traditional Christians don't eat themselves alive, because the traditional rhetoric in the Christian church is poison. I'm not gonna call it toxic. It's poison. It's not sustainable for a future for the species. Christianity and the Bible is the future of humanity, but the way it's being taught in a lot of churches and a lot of communities is death. So yeah, yeah. So um, hello, Miss Oxygen Yoga Fitness. I'm not gonna show you her because she's just my type. She's just my type, but I'm not like that. She's my type. Just because she's my type, she's nice to look at, but that's about it. I don't know her. She could be a knucklehead. Anyway, I should stop talking. Yeah. So we'll put out a video like going over the ages and things like that. I think we should start adulthood at age 13, but let age of consent stay at 18 or go up. There it is. Barbados. All right, that's my signal. The bat signal just came on. So yeah, age. What we're gonna say is right now, age 6, we start to prepare kids for adulthood. Age 12 and 13, they go through a ceremony that says you have begun adulthood. And that means they go and do service. They go serve the community in whatever capacity they want. Gardening, farming, nursing home, animal shelter, environmental thing where they clean up the community, plant trees, whatever, mechanic shop, whatever. Let the kids go join that. After 500 hours contributed to the society, they get the chance to sit for a class and learning how to drive a vehicle or to get a job. And by the age of 13, 14, they can get a job, start making money, and then they can get a license to have children at about 25 if you're female, 33 if you're male. I'm joking, whatever. Let me read this and get out of here. I must disagree with you. Thank you. You're ignoring this issue. All right, thank you for pointing that out, Andre. Let me read it. 3 of 4s disguised in trads play the role for a while, and it after 2 to 3 kids by destroying the family, the kids, and the man. Sounds like you were hurt by a woman. A lot of us have been. All right, brother, you keep popping up. I subscribe and I got to get to bed in Greenville, South Carolina. God bless you, brother. Thank you, Andrew. And it's 11 p.m. See you again. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. This is Apex Christianity, cultivating a connection with the Most High God in a way that is raw and real. Andrew, yes, it sounds like you were hurt very bad by a woman. The kids are controlled by their mom, who is modern, strong, and independent. You might have got in at the last part of the conversation. I agree with you 100%. That does destroy families, but again, you got to think of it this way. It's destroying their families, not yours. Go find a real woman, depending on what your age is. You know, if you are a young man in his 30s, make sure you have a career. Well, first of all, make sure you have a connection with God, a career that works for you, and a place that you can call sacred, and then a woman in her 20s. We do the other guy with 4 kids. Oh, yes. I remember you. Yes, Andre. Of course. I do remember you. Yeah. I remember. I feel you. I remember the conversations that are coming back to mind now. And you'll just pardon me as because the bat signal went off. I got to get moving. Yeah, I hear you, brother. Yeah. Modern feminism is a thing. Ugh, I remember your story now. Hey, look, man, develop a connection with the Most High God. I know that you're Christian and you got a good, strong community out there in Romania. Keep building it. I would say for you, throw away the victim stuff. I know that the mind virus is eating at your wife's brain, perhaps, and she probably feels frustrated, and it might be sneaking its way into Romanian culture. The mind virus and the cancer of feminism. Okay, I understand that. As a man, be a man and cultivate a connection to the Most High God, and feel the power of that. Never blame a woman ever for your problems, because she does not have the power to give you more hell than you'll receive. The devil can't hurt you. Satan can't hurt you. God knows a woman can't hurt you. And I know she can do some hurtful things. I'm not denying that she can't try to get the kids to go against you, try to get the government to go against you, try to take your balls and your money, of course. But you can be so strong of a man that you detach yourself from all of that and realize that your purpose is more important than your perception to other people, how other people perceive you. So it's a hard road, and trust me, I have been through it. And I have eaten turds, okay? And it can be difficult and challenging and painful and scary at times, but remember, it is the Most High who controls this, not a human person, okay? All right. I just seek out for the future and danger zone for my kids. Thank you for your comments. Of course, brother. She's okay sometimes. I know. Women are women, man. You just got to, like, take a deep breath when they start going crazy. All right. But I study modernity. And, modernity. And I got very black pilled. Good for you, brother. I just concerned for my boys and my girl also. Hi, yeah, brother. Listen, man, get in touch with the Most High God. That'll fix everything for you. And I mean that. But there's some things in the. It sounds like you might be Orthodox. You guys are winning, by the way. Orthodox are killing it. You guys are awesome. But when you connect with the Most High God, there is a clarity that comes into your spirit and a power that comes back into your spirit. And the Most High God is going to show you the clarity that you need to rule your family as a priest, a provider, and a king. Because that's what God made you, as father, as man. Your boys will be fine. Just be the best man you can be, okay? And do it lovingly, do it peacefully, do it harmoniously. Be a strong man under Christ as God has led you. As God has led you. The church may teach you some things that God's not teaching. Okay, so just get your head in the Word, connect with the saints, connect with the lords and the archbishops, bishops of the church if you can, and just keep building your manlyhood, brother. Okay, thank you. Of course, brother. You're God has got you. Just keep your head straight. If thine eye be single, thy whole body will be filled with light. Jesus said that. So keep your eye on the prize. Your woman starts doing womanly things because women are crazy. That's their nature. I know the women will be offended, but there's evidence that you're crazy. Okay? Because if a man heard men are crazy, they're going to be like, yep, men are crazy. Women hear that, oh, that's so sexist. That's so misogynistic. Evidence. You're just living the evidence, ladies, if you get offended by me saying that all women are crazy. Because all women are. That's your nature. It is what it is. The question is, are you crazy for the guy that I am? I want that woman. Okay? All women are crazy. So don't judge a woman for being crazy. Love her, appreciate her, thank God for her. And if she gets too crazy, get a little woman on the side. Have her shape up. Get a little Hagar. Bring a Hagar in the house. Watch her straighten up real quick. Now she's got to compete. Anyway, I'm joking. Don't do that. Don't destroy your life on your own hands, brother. Listen, I love you. God bless you. Stay Apex. I'm out of here. Dude, get a Hagar if God calls you to do that. I didn't say it. Don't blame me. God bless you, Andre. Thank you. Thank you, guys. God bless you guys.